Who runs the United States of America? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. And also coming up on this perspective, Myron Gaines from Fresh and Fit was denied entry into AmFest. He tried to seem so hard, just didn't have enough raise. Yeah, didn't have enough raise. Let's get into it. When Candace saw the delusional conspiracy, oh, the MAGA movement has been infiltrated by the Zionists, by Bibi Netanyahu, by Israel. Everybody was going nuts. Everybody was just going insane, firing shots at Candace. She's crazy. She's lost it. She's evil. She hates Jews. But not up until they just came out on plain sight. And the thing is, they have been hiding on plain sight and unraveling right in front of our eyes. But most people just refuse to accept the obvious. They would rather run with the narrative that, this is somehow a peaceful movement. But we know for a fact a lot of Christian faith-based organizations, churches, are being funded by Zionists. They do fund them. And also they fund Zionists and Israel-based organizations in the United States and also in Israel. Just look it up. Don't take my word for it. So when you listen to people like Ben Shapiro, for instance, and I had to say, Americans, why are you letting Jews tell you what to do in your own country, in your own land, what you should support and not support? Even though they tell you that you have freedom, you can choose whatever you want, but not opposing the Jews. You cannot do that. You understand that Judaism and Christianity are two different things. Two different religions. It's not one. We don't believe in the same thing. Listen to Ben Shapiro as he was on Joe Rogan podcast.
From a Jewish point of view, where we don't believe in the divinity of Christ, I think that there you can make an argument that the Gospels, which were written,
he was just a prophet, and right?
No, we don't even believe he was a prophet.
So they don't even believe that Jesus was a prophet. They have zero respect for our Savior, for our Messiah. Yet, for some odd reason, they want Christians and Jews to stick together. But this is only convenient for Jews and not Christians. See, when you dare oppose them, then they'll do everything and anything to make sure that they just leave you hanging. Well, yeah, Jesus was... We know exactly how it ended for Jesus. Yeah, just him hanging on the cross. Literally, that's what they'll do to you. So you dare oppose that. But when Candace was saying how much the White House has been infiltrated by the Jews and Israel, for most people, it was just very problematic. Okay? But when you watch this next clip, and another clip I'm about to play, it makes sense. Like everything just ties in together, everything in one place at the same time. Did you guys watch that movie? I think that's the title. Listen to this.
Any candidate running for a seat in this building, whether for Congress or Senate, whose platform includes anti-Semitism, we will target them as they target us. Accordingly, we will start a fund to help their opponents. We cannot passively sit by and let anti-Zionists determine our future. None of this will be easy. It will take time and effort from all of us. And Jews cannot fight this fight alone. Frankly, we shouldn't have to, because this is not a Jewish issue. It's a democratic issue. It's a moral issue. It's a human issue. Let us build a coalition so strong, so united, so determined that no extremist movement can fracture it. And above all, let us be bridge builders, unshakable. And any candidate running for a seat in this building, whether for Congress or Senate.
So let me just make one thing clear here, guys. Anti-Semitism, according to these people, includes criticizing Israel or criticizing anything inherently that a Jewish person does. Whether if you just don't like anything, you're just going to be called anti-Semitic, and they're just going to move to cancel you for just daring criticizing a Jewish person, and they just slid in there. Just Zionists, they just slide it in. Yeah, just yeah. Okay. Now Trump hosted Hanukkah dinner at the White House, and the deal was sealed just in front of all Americans. It was let known who actually has been running the White House. I mean, Candace has been saying this for a long time, and she has received a lot of flack, a lot of backlash, a lot of hatred, death threats for simply stating the obvious and calling it out. Mainstream media has been trying to cancel her, but in turn, she's just gained more popularity because people are actually being awakened to the reality of what's actually happening. This is why she's been ostracized, if you ask me, from the MAGA movement. Listen to this BS here, this nonsense.
And I said, this is our first Jewish president. Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two.
You know what? I have a better clip. Let me find a better clip than this. Okay. There is actually, yeah, there's a better one that I have for you guys. Okay. It's a little bit longer than that. Yeah. Let's play this other clip here.
And these people do like Israel. Hold on.
Look at the way he's grabbing Trump, asserting dominance, by the way. Asserting dominance over the president of the United States of America. Did you see that? Let me just rewind it. That's crazy.
And these people do like Israel. Hold on.
That's how I feel.
And he loves Israel too.
It's true. 2 seconds. Just 2 seconds.
Wow. Have you guys ever seen anything like this before? Like, have you guys ever seen anything like that? Like at all? Like any other time, usually Trump gives people time to speak. But no, not this guy. He's like, come over here. Let me tell you what to do. And then reaffirms and controls Trump right in front of America to say, you love Israel too. You love Jews too. He said, I do. I do. Yeah. I do.
6 years ago, I was up here, and I said, this is our first Jewish president. Now he's the first Jewish president to serve two not consecutive presidencies. We thank you for everything.
Yes, sir. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged.
Okay, we're not going to jump into all that. How does a white person just become Jewish? Make that make sense? Just a Jewish president. Yeah. And then at Amfest, they gave the microphone to Ben Shapiro. Sorry, Ben Shapiro. They give him a platform to speak, even though, Charlie would never, because whatever that Ben Shapiro represents right now, they just didn't see eye to eye. He wanted to cancel Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. One of the reasons Charlie Kirk actually was being called an anti-Semite was because of the likes of Ben Shapiro, pushing him to cancel people just because they don't want to have the obvious conversations, because they are shifting away from whatever the propaganda they've been trying to push, inserting the Zionists into Christianity, Judaism into Christianity, inserting control into Christianity and America. But there are just people who refuse to stand by that. And Charlie was asking all these questions. Remember the last podcast he had with Ben Shapiro? He was asking him questions about the Jewish and Israel involvement into the media and other things. Ben didn't like that. But this is what he had to say at MFest.
That actually get at the truth. If we agree with the guest, that's fine, but we should own it. So, for example, if you host a Hitler apologist, Nazi-loving, anti-American piece of refuse like Nick Fuentes, you know, the Nick Fuentes who said that the Vice President of the United States is a, quote, fat gay race traitor married to a Jeet. The person who said that Charlie Kirk was a, quote, retarded idiot. The person who said, and pardon my language here, it's his quote, that he, quote, took Turning Point USA and fucked it, and that's why it's filled with groypers. If you have that person on your show and you proceed to glaze him, you ought to own it. There is a reason that Charlie Kirk despised Nick Fuentes, and indeed even chided Dinesh D'Souza for debating him. He knew that Nick Fuentes is an evil troll, and that building him up is an act of moral imbecility. And that is precisely what Tucker Carlson did. He built Nick Fuentes up. And he ought to take responsibility for that, just as he ought to take responsibility for glazing pornographer and alleged sex trafficker Andrew Tate, or for mainstreaming fake historian and pseudo-Nazi apologist Daryl Cooper as America's best and most honest popular historian. Hosts are indeed responsible for the guests they choose and the questions they ask those guests.
So here's the problem. Here's the problem with these guys. If you just dare to host any of these people that they just mentioned on, or he just mentioned on the stage, you dare host them on your show, then all of a sudden you are embracing this ideology that whatever that they do is okay. You can't ask anyone questions. And this is where the problem lies. How come people cannot have a difference of opinions, right? We shouldn't be able to share the same values. We shouldn't be able to share the same values. I repeat, we should not be able to share the same values. First of all, the world will be a boring place to live in. And then secondly, that's where we draw strength from, is our differences. Can you imagine if scientists back in the day, even now, they're doing the research, and all of them, for some odd reason, just coming to the same conclusion? Wouldn't have no bulbs. Hey, how many times did you try to find a way to invent a bulb? Just one. Yeah, it can't work. It doesn't work. We can't have electricity because everybody's drawing the same conclusion. What they did after the first trial, they went to the second, third, fourth, fifth difference of opinions up until they arrived at something that actually worked. You need to still ask questions when people think a certain way. That's why we have studies, research, and hosting conversations. We show different perspectives, just like this right here. If any of you guys ever hit me up to say you want to have a conversation with me, you disagree with anything that I say, you dislike what I say, I'll let you come up on this show and I'll let you speak. I'll let you express yourself. You know why? Because I'm not just going to shut down what you have to say, even though I might not like it. You might not even like where I speak. Fine. You might not even like that I have a platform. That's fine. That's your opinion. And if you want to dare come up and question me, that's okay too. Shouldn't just shut you down. Now, all of a sudden, everybody falls in the same group, in the same category, simply because they refuse to be a channel through which propaganda is translated through the rest of the world. They refuse to be influencers. Now, all of a sudden, they're ostracized. That's insane to me. That's crazy. But to wrap this up, yeah, we have our glazing. Speaking of glazing, I think that was this is definitely a punchline for real. So one person that said who was glazing at Mfest was Myron Gaines, and the boy couldn't just get in. He doesn't fit in the club. And he's just hating from outside the club. You know what? He's not even hating. He was trying to get in. He's been trying to simp so hard that it's just not been working. And man, I don't know what was going on. So here's this clip. The guy that recorded this makes it 10 times funny.
Getting rejected at MFAC. So Amaru is not. Yeah. So what's happening, David?
Turning Point did a smart thing. They're not allowing Muslims into their conference.
They're not allowing Muslims into their conference. And Myron just went over there like, you didn't get the memo? Nobody told you?
So he's not being allowed in. Security is he's calling nobody because no one's gonna help him get in.
And what is he wearing? I get you from Fresh and Fit, but that's just way too tight also.
So I don't know who he thinks he's calling, but yeah, we got 1 security, 2, 3, and the event security. And he's calling, I think he's calling like Andrew Tate to help him get in or something.
If he's calling Andrew Tate, you know damn well he's not getting in.
Nope, not gonna happen, bud. Yeah, he's like, I'm right here at the corner. Just come get me. But he has no chance.
That is so funny. With all the glazing and all the simping, couldn't just get in. You just don't fit. You can be fresh, but you just don't fit. All right, guys, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. If you agree, disagree, if you want to have a conversation with me. And I will leave the email in the comment section as well, or maybe description. You guys can hit me up if you'd like to be part of a show. And I will see you guys on the next episode.